and welcome to another episode of Fireside Chat, a chat with the experts. I'm your host, Megan Bergsma, and we also have our head honcho of creative, Dr. Bill Cardoso.
Hello, guys.
And hello. For this Fireside Chat, we actually invited a creative electrons fan who have seen our X-ray demos live. So please help us welcome Arsenio Menendez, aka
There you
Missile
go.
Man.
Menendez.
Hello.
Hello. So let's start off the bat, Arsenio. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do for a living?
Hi, everyone. I'm Arsenio Menendez. Yes, like the comedian, no, I'm not named after him, but when I was on a carrier, I did get the call sign Hall. I'm a systems engineer out of NASA Goddard, and my current project is developing a integrated system on a chip carrier board to connect instruments from the late 90s to early to mid 2000s onto the internet via cellular modems in a way that is easily expandable and deployable with our current existing instrument networks.
So what got you involved with your also known as name, Missile Man? Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
That was something I've been a fan of for many years. Part of my engineering path started probably when I was 11, and I had read about the AIM-9 Sidewinder and the simple elegance of its design, and I just wanted to know more about it. And before you know it, I was on the path of just collecting materials, collecting as much information as I could, and just becoming the missile man of my friends group. They're like, "Oh yeah, he likes missiles." Simple as.
And can you tell us a little bit with what you do with missiles, like just kind of full disclosure of what you can and cannot do with missiles, like because everybody when I came out to visit you, they're like, Missile Man? Like red flag. So let's reconstruct like what do you exactly do with missiles and why is this your hobby?
And keep in mind, the NSA is listening, Arsenio. So
the NSA is right up the road. And hi, Jeff. How are you doing? Jeff's my agent. He's probably watching this. No. So to put it simply, I basically enjoy reverse engineering these things and figuring out how they work from first principles, or just going backwards and taking a piece of hardware, looking at it, figuring out how it works, or imagery, and then understanding it from that point of view, and then re-engineering it in CAD models or 3D printing it out, and then deepening my own understanding of it. It's completely unlinked from my professional life because at the agency, we don't touch missiles. We don't touch military tech. So I've just been doing this for the greater part of 10 years at this point, and just something really interesting. And my end goal is I want to work in foreign materials exploitation, where basically three-letter agencies and spicy boys go out, capture some enemy technology, and then bring it back. And then the FMEs, they go figure out how it works and how to effectively defend against it.
Very interesting stuff. So how did you follow us? How did you discover Creative Electron in the process of your hobby?
Well, that's part of my other research hobbies, where I just basically do a lot of deep dives and digging on everything from like DC to daylight. And one of the things that I came across in my advocacy for the right to repair was iFixit. And iFixit has you guys do a lot of their X-ray images for their X-ray teardowns of new hardware that comes out. And I was like, holy crap, that's cool.
Nice.
And then Veritasium had his recent video on the bowling balls, and I was like, nah, you know what? I'm going to reach out to them. Worst case scenario, they say no. A shot in the dark.
You know, that's the thing about social media. You never know what's going to happen. So for that,
a lot of bad things about it, but there are really great things about it, right?
Absolutely.
Good when you have a social media manager looking out for people like that.
Nudge, nudge, wink, wink.
Yeah. So, I actually had a really great opportunity to meet you in person, all the way over in Virginia, and because we took the X-ray van to the site. So, how did you like that experience overall? And and if you want to showcase some of your tools and gadgets and thingamajigs that you demoed. So can you just do a little show and tell, if you will, Arsenio?
I absolutely can. It was a wonderful experience to be able to just put things in the X-ray and then tinker around with like angles, play with the X-ray, crank the power levels up and down, and most importantly, look through the unseen and see things differently from what is normally seen. It helped a lot with some of my reverse engineering stuff because I have a bunch of equipment, namely 5-inch helium driven. This one's a control actuation system from a deck gun.
Mm,
And I was trying to figure out what's going on in this block here,
okay.
which before I tore it apart because it might be destructive. And
Yeah.
then also like valve sequencing and arrangement of gas ports, which we couldn't see sadly due to the density of it.
Yeah.
But we did get to see the valve stacks in here, which was very important because that allows me to figure out how I'm going to go in and approach the teardown so I can document the internals.
So are you putting those tear downs that I fix it?
Not, I don't think iFixit really has a munitions section.
You gotta call Kyle. Add an ammo section on the website. That's very cool. So what did you see there? And can you show us again and explain what you? It was quite, a bit quick. What we're looking at and what is that to begin with?
So this is a helium-driven control actuation block for a 5-inch deck gun from an experimental program that NSWC Dahlgren did back in I think it was 90s.
Okay.
This one was built by Chandler Evans, and I found it on eBay. So I was like, I'm just going to buy that.
Why not? Right. I mean, it's perfectly normal that anyone would do that. You find something there on eBay, you buy it, right? Might as well. Yeah.
Yeah, my impulse purchases are a little different from most people's.
Yeah. So what's the green cylinder there on the back? What is that?
So the green cylinder is the canister that holds the 25,000 psi helium charge to drive the things. And then you've got this block, and then this block are what are known as thermal batteries. Thermal batteries are really neat pieces of technology.
Yeah, absolutely.
Essentially, they're batteries that are completely inert, 0 volts, and they just sit on the shelf for decades at a time, not doing anything until you light them on fire. You light them on fire internally, melt the electrolyte, and then they just start really cranking out voltage and amps on demand.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Now, so you said you're gonna tear down that control module. Is that the valve stack? Yeah.
The valve stack here, yes. I'm going to take that apart and then document the gas flow sizes so I could figure out, based on the pressure differential from here and then the expansion chamber that's underneath it, I can get a rough idea of its drive force on the actuators.
Sure. Makes sense. Very interesting. So do you have any X-ray images we can see, or are you gonna wait until the final?
The review.
I'm gonna write those up in a teardown document on discount missiles.
Cool. So do you have a website where we can see all those cool projects you're working on?
Yes, a lot of my projects are documented on discountmissiles.com.
Discountmissiles.com. Okay.
It's super easy to remember.
It really is. Yes. I mean, I'm often shopping for missiles, so discountmissiles.com. That rolls all the tongue very easily.
Good fun fact. Go for it.
I tried to get arsen.io, but Arsenio Hall, the comedian, is parking it as a redirect and would not answer my emails.
Oh, Arsenio. Now, so you mentioned that you're interested in this reverse engineering, which is a huge field and it's been around forever, and it's just growing right now. Tell me more about it. I mean, what is what are the next steps you get there?
So the next steps for me probably are continue with the work stuff, and namely finishing out these boards, the ones that I was talking about developing. And then from there, I would go and continue reverse engineering a multitude of things to figure out and learn from those things how they work, how they're assembled, and different get inside the minds of the engineers, which is a lot of how I learned myself. Growing up, I tore everything apart I could get my hands on with a screwdriver.
Yeah.
And from there, I learned massive amounts about the engineering process, different methodologies of doing things, or how to engineer things for design for manufacture. Because I learned from not the books, but from actual like developed and manufactured products.
No, it that's the best way to learn, right? Now, you were talking about learning, and I want to take a quick segue here towards our educational system, and we talk about um, engagement with colleges and in at the high school level. Uh, was there were there any significant moments throughout your education that you led you or to help you guide towards a technical career?
Yeah, there probably would be a few of them. One of them was when I moved down here to Virginia with my family, and I attempted to join the engineering focused track on at my high school, but was turned down because I was a transfer student and I didn't have the prerequisites going into it.
Oh, gotcha.
So I was hard gated from it there. And
Hmm.
then after graduating with a not so great GPA, instead of that, because I'd been sacrificing my social life to go to the hackerspace up in Arlington when it was still there, and learning the craft there from people who lived and breathed engineering, I decided, oh yeah, I'm just going to keep doing that, and I proceeded to continue doing that through while working at small tech repair companies locally
Mhm.
before
Hmm.
eventually pivoting and going to NASA.
That's fantastic, man. Yeah, a technical career. Uh, some say that you don't choose to become an engineer; it chooses you, right? You don't really have an option; you just have to live with that.
Yep.
Uh,
When the knack you got the knack, it comes knocking, and it's like you're going to be an engineer.
yeah,
No, no, run
yeah,
from it. Dread
exactly.
it. Engineering always finds you.
We'll get you, man. We can run, but we'll eventually catch up with you. And you you also you showed us a board. Is that the one you're working on right now to interface the uh, uh, older electronics to the new stuff? I see
Yes.
is a Bluetooth module, USB port,
No,
SD
no.
card.
That's the cell modem to connect it to
Oh,
the
the
internet.
cell modem. Okay.
You got your solar power in, the DB9 serial to connect to them, and then
Okay.
here's the part of it, which is a OSD 3358 system
Okay.
and package from Texas Instruments.
Okay. That's super
And
cool.
yeah, it's a BGA, which is a little bit of a pain in the ass to design and manufacture, but the lab's got the equipment I need.
Did you have X-ray to look for quality of the BJ? So that's all good.
Yes, that's one of the things we did. I checked for voiding and cracking, and it looks like my process was controlled really well because not a single one of the balls was cracked, and they all were perfectly pillowed.
Nice. That's awesome. You passed that one then. Well done.
Because previously I'd done the inspections by basically taking the boards with me when I went to the dentist, and it's like, hey doc, can I borrow your X-ray real quick?
Cool. So uh, I assume you are in your garage or somewhere in the lab in your house. Is that where you right now?
Yes. This is down in the basement. It's my heavily
Basement.
outfitted developmental lab.
Yeah, we don't have basements in California, so we have to stay in the garage. Yeah, I wish we had basements. We make life much easier. So we have garages instead. Um, so what's intriguing you from a technology perspective today?
Intriguing me from a technology perspective is definitely the rise of thermal imaging and how it's propagating out rapidly and becoming very commoditized at this point. Previously, it used to be the domain of
Yeah,
multi-billion-dollar
yeah,
companies like FLIR, Raytheon, or BAE Systems.
yeah,
Now that the original patents are starting to expire on like vanadium oxide or amorphous silicon, what's happening is you're getting the massive explosion of thermal imaging, especially after things like COVID
yeah.
exploded the market for thermal imaging,
They're
which I
commoditized.
also
Yeah,
which I also used to my advantage, and I snagged a VGA 640 by 480 thermal camera for under $1,000 because I was like, yes, there's going to be a massive surge. Everybody's going to buy thermals, and then when the pandemic quiets down, that's when it's time to buy.
exactly. So is that one of those you connect to your phone, or is a standalone camera? There you go. There it is.
Standalone camera. It's a fever monitoring camera.
Oh, nice. That thing's big.
Yeah,
That's very
these
cool.
retail for like $25,000, but everybody's surplusing them at dirt cheap prices now.
That is fantastic, man. So what are you going to do with that? Do you have a plan?
Oh yes, because this one's a fully ratiometric core. I use it all the time in circuit board bring-ups. I point it at the circuit board. When I start powering it on, look for
Yeah.
like what's heating up or causing problems, because it'll
Okay.
light up like a Christmas tree. It's like, oh, problem right there.
You know, I was expecting a much more exciting answer. Like I'm going to launch a missile, and I'm going to do the thermal track and do some guidance with that.
So some of my projects are indeed tuning some of the guidance law stuff and ground-based stuff, which
There you go. I feel like we can ask him to show anything,
like
Megan. He'll find it in the lab.
Oh,
What
for
is that?
this
sure.
was
A Jeep
it's a
Humvee? Yeah, I have right here.
yeah, this was a turret from the Texas highway system that is an EOIR, so it had thermal here. That's over there in my shelf.
Right.
And then this one has a zoom camera, but I'm using it as a general purpose pan tilt positioner. So I can sling basically anything on the side of it and use it to drive things with the two massive stepper motors in it.
Do they know you have it there?
Hmm?
Do they know you have that in there? That
Oh yeah,
you're not missing that in Texas somewhere?
no. It was surplus, so I
Oh,
got a
surplus. Okay, good.
surplus.
Just making
Got it
sure.
on eBay again?
No, that was a BMI surplus up in Massachusetts. I don't know how they got it up in
Oh,
Massachusetts.
Yeah, sometimes this massive warehouse consolidates surplus from a bunch of places, and then they just put it on for retail disposal. Now, if you could get a hold of anything, any technology out there, if you were granted one wish to get a hold, to have in your lab, anything you can ask for, what would it be?
In my
Legal or
lab,
illegal?
does it have to fit in the lab?
No, it can actually fit your lab inside it if you.
Ah,
you have plenty of space in Virginia, so if you
hmm.
want to put it near the house, so we can all find you there. What would
I'd
it be?
probably say I'd want a Paris class frigate with the
Oh
full
wow!
complement of equipment.
For those who don't know, like me, can you explain what that is?
So the Paris class frigate is the backbone of the United Nations Space Command's fleet. They're the iconic frigate from Halo. And with the full complement, you'd have the Scorpion tanks, you'd have the Pelicans, you'd have the Shavuika faster than light drive, you'd have the Warthog, you'd have all the ODSTs, you'd have all the goodies, and then just take it around the solar system, go on the grand tour, swing by Mars, goof around on Mars, build some like Mars pyramids, really mess with some astronomers, and then also use it to commute to work. Just like take the Pelican up, just go boom, across, park it over work, and just go fly down.
There'll be a fast commute.
It would probably annoy the DC National Guard and air traffic control, because they would be very annoyed at something that large coming in from space very fast and then just parking itself there.
Yeah, it's a somewhat controlled airspace that you live under right there. Yeah, some people live up there, right? They don't like the disturbance.
I think it'd be pretty fun to just be like, oh, DC regional, I'd like to request landing. Pelican D77 3 at Duck Aqua Niner. Say again, altitude? Altitude is 27 miles and on glide slope. 27 miles.
Where the hell are you coming from?
Coming in from orbit, just swung by the moon real quick.
So Arsenio, I have 3 young kids. What's your advice for them as a young engineer and young scientist? What's your advice for the kids out there? Who want to pursue a career in technology?
And I think Bill is also looking for Christmas presents to get for his kids.
Oh, they already told me what they are. So Santa's already fully stacked, but I can always take in all those IR cameras are looking awesome. So you might.
Oh yeah, like you can get a bunch of these things for pretty cheap if you know where to look on surplus markets.
Nice.
But so basically, my biggest advice to kids these days, because as somebody who has reached the becoming an engineer without the degree, uh, I've had a very odd path, and I haven't fully drank the educational system indoctrination Kool-Aid. So basically, my advice is don't sweat the grades as much, because I've had interns who are 4.0 students from like MIT, and then I've had an intern who was a wildland firefighter in Alaska. And it's incredible seeing the difference between somebody who's practical engineering versus somebody who's just book smart engineering. It's not all about the books. Sure, a good GPA will make people be like, oh, okay, they studied really hard. But what's the critical part is knowing things and actually having that engineering sense that only comes with doing it. So get some passion projects, write about them, get a blog, create a portfolio page, just do projects for the sake of projects, for learning, for just shenanigans, or just like, hey, that's kind of a dumb idea. Yeah, whatever, let's do it.
Let's do it anyway. Yeah.
Surround yourself with high powered people and do fun engineering things together. It makes all the difference in the world.
And then I think you can touch on a very important thing, which is passion, right? And
For
it's
sure.
very clear that you have plenty of it. And so it's super excited to share some of that with you, because that's what drives the world at the end of the day. When you have to face 20-hour days and 7-day weeks, if you don't have the passion, it's not going to take it that far, right?
You got to feed the knack, feed that curiosity, keep it burning, because school will try to stifle it.
Yeah.
Because just grinding away, studying is going to be boring as hell, but you got to do those things to keep your brain going.
Mm-hmm.
And that's actually very informative with people who don't follow the traditional school, but they're like really smart and like they can be really good employers. And sometimes it's just seeing those passion projects and seeing those things out there, like what you do, Arsenio, is really cool examples of like, even though he doesn't have the degree, even though he doesn't have this and that, you can tell, like I can tell from the fact that you're a like brilliant guy and very, very outgoing when it comes to the things that you're passionate for. So sometimes we probably need to take a step back in this like educational route and just you know, be able to give back to those like, hey, this kid is like passionate. This I want that in my team. I want them to be able to have that passion and curiosity to really take things far. And sometimes you don't get that in the traditional school format.
Yeah, and I think the school format is I think it was prone to drastic change prior to COVID, and a lot because of COVID is being through redesign and rethinking, right, of what's the use of being in school every day for 5-6 hours, discounting the daycare aspect of school, but the overall education and motivational aspect, right, that drives people to fulfill their passions and to keep igniting, right, things that they love to do, and to allow them to do it. So I very much understand where you're coming from, Arsenio.
All right. Well, it's the top of the hour, and so I just have one more question for Arsenio.
Randy, come on, we just started.
Yeah, isn't it crazy how time flies when you're having fun? So I have a little bit of a two-part question. What's next after seeing the X-ray van and getting all the things that you want to demo out? And what are you excited to get into dissecting and taking apart? Aside from the thingamadoo that you just showed us.
So
I
the next steps are probably taking those X-ray images and then matching them up with the actual physical invisible images, so you can get a rough idea of where things are internally, and then proceed with the documentation process on those. But as for the thing that I'm most excited for next, that's this beauty. It's an entire. This is an entire AIM-9J uh, guidance control section from 1969.
Wow.
And figuring out how this thing works, figuring out the guidance law and all of that is my primary goal with this. What better way to get a foreign material exploitation job than to do it for real?
Exactly. So is that the complete
Yep,
object
everything,
or? Oh,
everything from
wow.
like gas grain all the way forward to the mirrors that make the mirror, because the other one broke off of the Seeker.
Very cool.
Yes, I know the fin's wrong. It's a Lima fin. It's a little bit anachronistic, but meh, who cares?
Who cares? Yeah, it looks like a shark. That's cool.
That's what I was just thinking. For our thumbnail for this video would
You're
definitely,
gonna
if you
need a
can get a
bigger boat.
picture of this, that'll be great.
There you go.
Oh yeah, I'll have some
Well,
pictures up.
yeah. Thank you so much, Arsenio, for joining us
No
and
problem.
being able to just kind of showcase, what you can do with a passion and hobby and turn it into something great. And, reaching out. This is a really cool experience to be able to come out and see you in the flesh and see how you're very passionate about. And I'm looking forward to seeing what you have in your Discount Missile website and being able to showcase Creative Electrons X-ray images to your passion projects.
I greatly appreciate you guys sending out that X-ray van as a divert and answering my ridiculous query on Twitter.
And any other X-ray image you need, just let us know. We'll help you out.
Will do.
Thanks so
All
much,
right.
man. Nice meeting you.
Have a good one.
Nice meeting you too.